Hi everyone, welcome back to With or No Stuck in a Book. My name is Nikki. I hope you're all doing well. As you can see, it's October. We are all decorated for spooky season here. The living room has all been done up and decorated for October and Halloween. I love this time of year. I love autumn. I love October and Halloween, like the build up to everything. I love dressing up. So we're all ready for it here. So today I'm going to go through my books that I will hopefully get to read in October. As always, I am far too ambitious in my TBRs, but I've got 12 books here, I think, that I'm hoping to read in October. Will I get to read them all? Probably not, but we can try. This is my TBR pile for October. So let's get started. The first book that I have here is Jaws by Peter Benchley. I think I mentioned previously that we had went to see the film in the IMAX for its 50th anniversary. It was brilliant, like especially on the big massive IMAX screen. The film is timeless. This the fact that it was filmed in 1975 and still holds up as a really good kind of horror movie is amazing. But yeah, it's probably in my top 5 films. I was going to say top 10 there, but I would say probably top 5. But yeah, the book is very different in places. There, in terms of who dies in the book versus the movie, is different, and there's an affair that happens in the book that doesn't happen in the movie. So the book is very different, but still very good. A lot of people say that this is one of the few instances where the film is better than the book. I would say I prefer the film. I've read about a third of this, but I have read it previously years ago. But the book is still good. It's just different in places. So I'm about a third of the way through it. So this will be my first read of October. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. The next book that I have here is a Riley Sager book, Middle of the Night. It is about, basically it starts off with 2 little boys who are camping in their garden, I think. Maybe not their garden, maybe they're just camping. So 2 10-year-old boys in 1994, they're camping in a tent. They both fall asleep. One of them wakes up and the other one isn't there, and he's never seen again. And then it looks like it fast forward 30 years later, and Ethan, the boy who wakes up alone, has returned back to his childhood home, and he's looking for answers to find out what happened to his friend 30 years ago. I'm sure, as always with Riley Sager, there will be great plot twists in here. I really rate Riley Sager as a thriller writer. I've never been disappointed reading one of his books. So yeah, looking forward to this one. The next one I have here is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. Josh Malerman is the person who wrote the book of Bird Box, which was a movie with Sandra Bullock. So this is about a little girl who lives with her mum and dad, but she sees other mummy and talks to other mummy. And I think at first her parents kind of push it, like wave it off as a sort of just an imaginary friend type thing. But it's more sinister than that. It gives Coraline vibes, so like you know how Coraline, the movie where it's like she has her actual parents, but then through the door they have other parents. So yeah, it sounds like that kind of vibe. But from the blurb, it says basically that like other mummy only ever used to like peek out of the wardrobe and stuff, but now she's getting closer and closer, and Bella, who is the little girl, is getting worried that she's going to hurt her parents. So yeah, that I've heard good things about this book and since around the house, and I am really looking forward to reading it, and it looks like it would be a really good book for October and scary season. I do apologise if you can hear snoring in the background. That is my dogs, Joey and Chandler. They are French bulldogs, so they cannot sleep quietly. They have to be as loud as they possibly can. The next book that I have here is Grady Hendrix, How to Sell a Haunted House. I've read a couple of Grady Hendrix books. The only one I can remember off the top of my head right now is the horror store one that's made to look like an IKEA catalogue. Maybe Final Girls Support Group. I think I've read that one. But yeah, another one that's got like kind of spooky vibes for Halloween. And it says, when Louise finds out her parents have died, she dreads going home. She doesn't want to leave her daughter with her ex and fly to Charleston. She doesn't want to deal with her family home, stuffed to the rafters with the remnants of her father's academic career and her mother's lifelong obsession with puppets and dolls. Oh, that sounds freaky. She doesn't want to learn how to live without the two people who knew and loved her the best in the world. Mostly she doesn't want to deal with her brother Mark, who never left their hometown, gets fired from one job after another, and resents her success. But she'll need his help to get the house ready for sale, because it'll take more than some new paint on the walls and clearing out a lifetime of memories to get this place on the market. Some houses don't want to be sold. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm assuming there's going to be some spooky situation in the house. But yeah, looking forward to that. As I say, Grady Hendrix is a really good author for this time of year, because there's always that kind of horror element in her books. Yeah, so the next book is one of the books from my 40 Books for 40 that Danny recommended, and that's The Exorcist. There was a few that I hadn't read yet, but I kept a couple for October because they seem to fit the October Halloweeny vibe, and the first one is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Haven't read the book and I haven't seen the movie, so I hope to read this in October, then watch the movie and see what the big deal of it is about. But this is meant to be really, really good. I actually saw someone call it a masterpiece the other day on, I think it was on a book group on social media, but yeah, so I kind of vaguely know the story from like I haven't seen the film, but like everyone kind of knows what it's about. A young girl possessed and get people in to exorcise her. So yeah, the only thing I kind of know about this is that scene where she's like kind of tied to the bed and they're trying to, like, she's sick everywhere and they're trying to do the exorcism. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this to see what it's all about. This was published in 1971, and it says it became a literary phenomenon and inspired one of the most shocking films ever made. So yeah, looking forward to this. Hopefully not too scary. But yeah. Next up is something I want to reread. I read this years ago and I absolutely loved it. It would be in my top 10 books of all time. It's The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, and yeah, it's a really good kind of gothic thriller type book. It's about this big house that's basically fallen apart, and there is these twins that live there, and they're basically like feral, they're wild, they speak in their own little language, don't communicate with other people, and this writer she's visiting the house to basically write a story about its history. And I just remember the plot twist in this being absolutely amazing. So I want to reread it to just see if it still holds up to what I have in my head of like the memory of reading this book. But the reason I want to read it this month is because it gives that, it's got that whole gothy, spooky, eerie vibe that I remember from reading it the first time. Like big crumbling mansion, like, do you know what I mean? There's a mystery, this house has a mystery, and she needs to work it out. So I would like to reread this month and see if it is as good as my memory tells me it is. But yeah, if I remember correctly, the plot twist in this is off the charts. I hope it holds up, and I hope it will still be in my top 10 when I finish reading it. But if you haven't read this, please go and read it because it's so good, so good. Next up I have Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. I have read Silence of the Lambs, and I've obviously seen the movie, and I've seen a few of the other movies, but I have not read Red Dragon, and this is the kind of first in the series. It's like the origin story, I think. The novel that launched Hannibal Lecter's legacy of evil. So yeah, it's the first in the Hannibal Lecter series, so it's set before Silence of the Lambs. But I'm looking forward to it because I really enjoyed Silence of the Lambs when I read that, and obviously all the movies are really good. But yeah, so Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. Next up, another one from my 40 before 40. This is the other one that I was holding back for October. It is American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. I've watched the movie of this again many years ago, but I obviously remember that it was very violent, and apparently the book is worse. So looking forward to that. Thank you, Stuart, for recommending this book to me. We're actually showing this in my work right now as part of, I don't know if it's for an anniversary or if it's because it's Halloween, but we are showing this in my work just now. So hopefully I read it in time to go and watch it in my work. But yeah, so American Psycho, it's about Patrick Bateman, who is I think he's like a Wall Street stockbroker by day, and then just turns like crazy psychopath at night. And yeah, as I say, I've seen the movie many years ago, but still have vivid memories of some of the scenes because they were that crazy. And yeah, so that's that. I will be reading that, and I will let you know the verdict on it afterwards. The next few books that I've got are all classic kind of horror, gothic type novels. Some of these are for my literature course, and some are for the Hardcore Literature Book Club schedule. So the first one up is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I will be reading this alongside the Hardcore Literature Book Club, and yeah, everyone knows the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't think I really need to explain it, but yeah, looking forward to this. I have read it once before, but I don't have a lot of memories about it. I think I listened to it, and I listened to it pretty quickly, so didn't fully absorb. I don't know if other people find that sometimes when you listen to a book purely on Audible, you don't retain as much of it as when you physically read it, because I find sometimes I can get distracted when I'm listening to an Audible book, so you don't take in the story quite as much if like you're just solely listening to it. if you're listening to it and reading along, obviously that's different, but I do think you retain much more when you're physically reading the book, either like just solely physically reading the book or physically reading the book alongside listening to it. But I listened to this at a point where I was just listening to audiobooks constantly, and then I realised I'm not retaining anything here, so switched it up a bit, slowed down a bit. And yeah, I think I'm having a much better reading experience now from doing that, from slowing down. But yeah, looking forward to revisiting Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Scottish author as well, so this will tie in with my goal to read more Scottish authors. Next up is also for the Hardcore Literature Book Club, Rebecca, Daphne du Maurier, and I have started this, and so far I am loving it. So good. Lots of people have this as their favourite book of all time, and I am dying to get. As I say, I've started it, but I'm not too far into it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading the rest. Obviously, it's about so the main character, the narrator in this, is, we never get to know her name, but she is a sort of companion to a rich woman, and they're on holiday when they meet Maxim de Winter, and the narrator gets kind of whisked off her feet and marries him, and she goes back to Mandalay, which is his kind of big mansion house in Cornwall. So again, you've got that like kind of gothic, decaying, like ancient mansion, and she basically, he's been married before to Rebecca, and she starts to realise that she cannot live up to the memory and legacy of Rebecca. She realises that she doesn't really know much about her new husband, just that his wife died in a kind of tragic and very sudden circumstance, and yeah, and the servants all like talk about Rebecca as if she was the best thing ever, and they refer to Rebecca as Mrs. de Winter, even though the narrator is technically Mrs. de Winter. And yes, so and you can't really say too much more without like spoiling it. You should, if you have not heard anything about this and you've not read it, you should go in completely blind. But yeah, looking forward to this. Next up, for my literature course, I am reading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I'm really looking forward to this because I've never read it before, and I've heard that it's just brilliant. Obviously, we've had many different versions of Frankenstein over the years, but I'm really looking forward to reading this and finding out what all the fuss is about. It has both. I've got a copy that's got both versions in it, because she obviously wrote it and then she rewrote it when it was getting republished, and just even the story of how this came about, that she was just sitting with fellow writers and friends, and they just challenged each other to write a ghost story or a scary story, and this is what Mary Shelley came up with, like, and she was like 18 at the time, is just insane to me, like, yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then last but by no means least is The Picture of Dorian Gray, which again I'm doing for my literature course. I am about halfway through this, and honestly it's so good. I've read this before, but I forgot how good it is. The writing is phenomenal, and just I don't know, like Oscar Wilde is genius, like, just the way the characters speak, and like you're drawn in so quickly, like the first page. Like I have annotated and highlighted so much just in the first like 70 pages. This makes it look like it's huge, but the actual story itself is only about 170 pages. This has again got two versions in it, two different versions that were published in it, and then it's got a lot of like commentary at the back, different essays and stuff on it. These editions of books, which is the Norton Critical editions, are really good if you're wanting to really deep dive into a book, because there's lots of notes at the bottom of the pages and stuff, but there's also at the end there's always loads of additional information, essays written about the book, like reviews from the time of like when the book was out and stuff. So these if you're studying literature, these editions are really good. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. As I say, I'm about halfway through. But reading it very slowly because I'm having to actually like properly study it. So I've been doing a couple of chapters of this a day. And I'll be doing the same with Frankenstein. But yeah, really enjoying it. So that is my 12 books that I am hoping to read in October. Whether time will allow me or life will allow me to get through all 12, I don't know. But I do have a week off work. I've got like 9 days off work in a row that I'm like, I could use that for getting some reading time in, though I do have other things to do. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to trying to read this TBR. But thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you all later. Bye.